quarter three is your clarity season. We're building a runway. This is when mid-year reflection meets mid-career reality. It's when if you've been asking, is it time to move on? That's not confusion. That's clarity trying to get your attention. And here's what I know about mid-year. It's not just reflection season, it's runway building season. We are halfway through this year. And if you're like most high performer, most go-getters, you are realizing that what got you here won't get you to where you're meant to go. So most people traditionally wait until January to reset. But strategic leaders, they know Q3 is the most important quarter. This is when budgets are finalized, priorities are reshuffled, and the next year visibility is built. Think about it. Q1 it's full of fleeting resolutions. You can name it: gym memberships, the vision board parties, the vague goals. But by Q3, most people have drifted off. The momentum has faded, the motivation dips. That is exactly why Q3 planning will set you apart. So stay tuned. So while others are coasting or catching up, you're laying the groundwork, positioning for promotions, prepping for a strategic exit, designing offers or business moves for Q4 visibility and Q1 wins. The leaders who win in January, they didn't just start then. They start right now. Q3 determines Q1. It's the invisible power quarter, if you will. And when you mirror your personal and professional growth to this rhythm, everything changes. You stop reacting and start repositioning. You stop hustling and start building with alignment, authority, and most importantly, peace of mind. Because the legacy that you want, the legacy that you deserve, it's not built in quarter one ambition. It's built in Q3 strategy. I'm Jraya Nicole, career strategist, author, and founder of the CAPE Experience, and I help high-performing professionals make strategic exits and bold re-entries in their second act career. Because your next move isn't just about a career change, it's your legacy in motion. Most professionals, they use their mid-year review to adjust their current reality, right? Those that are working in a corporate setting. Instead of architecting, designing their next one, they're managing dissatisfaction, if you will, instead of designing their liberations. Here's the truth. For those of you tuned in, you're not in a mid-year crisis. You're in a mid-year awakening. So your mid-year reflection shouldn't just be about what's not working. It should be about what's calling you forward. And that voice inside you, the one that's telling you there's more for you, that's not panic, that's purpose. And it deserves strategic response, not just hope and a prayer, right? Y'all with me? So too many mid-career professionals, they just start shrinking instead of shifting. They leave roles without clarity and enter the next with insecurity instead of intention. So we are going to stop that cycle because your exit is part of your brand story. It deserves more than a 2-week notice. It deserves intention. We are building a runway. Quarter three is your clarity season. We're building a runway. This is when mid-year reflection meets mid-career reality. It's when you're invited to stop surviving the role and start designing your strategy, your blueprint. Mid-year gives you the perfect excuse to have conversations other people they avoid. And while everyone else is on autopilot until December, you're building the infrastructure for your next elevation. So let's look at it like this. Before a plane takes off, it builds speed. It aligns. You don't just launch, you build the runway. You design your conditions for a smooth, powerful ascent. Your career deserves the same. So what if you spend, follow me here. What if you spent the next 6 months not just tolerating your job or just surviving your current role, but actually building your exit strategy like a legacy brand? What if by December, you weren't just ready to leave, you were positioned to soar? Because this isn't about burning bridges. We're building runways, right? So the strategy isn't just about what you're leaving when you're exiting. It's about why you're leaving and how you show up next. It's about the story you're writing, and the difference between reactive exits and respected ones is when preparation meets positioning. So, y'all with me here? Here is the mind shift. It's a respectable exit followed by a strategic pause, which paves the way for a legendary entrance. How you leave becomes part of how you're received. Your exit strategy is your entry strategy. So that's the philosophy behind every career move I coach my clients through when they're at the crossroads in their career. Because you don't have to burn bridges to build your future. You don't have to rush into the next thing to prove your worth. And you definitely don't have to settle for good enough when you're capable of extraordinary. And the beautiful thing about starting in the middle of the year, summertime, is by the time most people are making New Year's resolutions, you are already making power moves. Let's clear the air here. You're not starting over at 40, 45, or 50. You have power tools, because this isn't about figuring out who you are from scratch. You already know your strengths, your value, and your worth. What you need are the strategic frameworks, the containers, and the tactical approaches to position yourself powerfully in this market. And then you negotiate from a place of confidence, not desperation. So you have the equity, you've mastered the skills. Now it's time to move with that authority that you already have. I've seen clients who thought they were too late end up turning their pivot into their most purposeful and profitable chapter to date, not because they were lucky, but because they got strategic. Mid-career is not a setback. It's actually an advantage. It's your advantage to finally get the stage it deserves. The market is shifting, and it's unforgiving on being comfortable. I have to keep it real. Here is the wake-up call why this market won't wait for you. Now, the market is changing, and it's not waiting for us to catch up. The future of work is being rewritten in real time. AI, automation, remote restructuring, it's creating these new lanes and closing old ones. And here's the tough truth. If you're over 40, you already know what ageism feels like. Sometimes it's subtle, other times it's blatant. Passed over for new opportunities, labeled as too senior, or what I heard often, overqualified. Let's be honest, slightly edged out because companies are hiring for speed over wisdom. That's why you can't afford to stay in spaces that no longer see your value. Not because you're not valuable, but because the longer you stay somewhere that underutilizes you, the more invisible you become. And in this market, invisibility is a career killer. Staying comfortable feels safe, but it's actually a major risk. Because while you are rationalizing the reasons to wait it out, Companies are moving, they are restructuring, budgets are closing, and the seat you're sitting in may not even exist next quarter. Comfort is absolutely the new danger zone. It tells you you're safe, but in reality, it's where legacy, income, and visibility slowly erode. So when I say you need to own your narrative, you need to own your story, this isn't just motivational talk. This is a strategic survival skill. Because if you do not write your next chapter, guess what? Someone else will. And they won't write you in powerfully. You're not behind. You're just being invited to narrate the next chapter, but this time on your terms. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from power. You've got networks they don't have, the wisdom they absolutely can't buy, and the credibility they're still trying to build. You get to decide how this chapter ends and how the next one begins. That's the power of owning your story. Because the truth be told, no one should be telling that story better than you. Not your job title, not your resume, not even your past. This is your season to narrate with clarity, strategy, and absolute authority. For those of you ready to turn your mid-year reflection into real career transformation, I created a free but impactful career clarity kickstart video series just for you. Those of you who are done guessing your next move, you get a 30-minute training delivered directly to your inbox, because clarity doesn't wait, and neither should you. What we cover how to look at your career and see what's really working and what's not. How to make choices that match who you are now, not who you used to be. And how to think differently so you can protect your peace and still grow your income, because you can have the best of both worlds. So I'll drop the link in the description below to start your Career Clarity Kickstart series today. Let's build your runway before the year ends, because it deserves to be as powerful as your destination. So drop a comment. You know I like to cheer you on in the comments. What's the one thing about your career that needs to shift before the year ends? Let's build momentum together. And until next time, may your next move be your best move.